My name is Rebecca McWilliams. I'm a state representative from Concord, New Hampshire. I have seen individuals both excel at leadership and become really good at leading, say, a committee because they set those boundaries with trust, truth-telling, and always being equal, even if they're in charge of a committee. And I've seen the opposite, too. I've really seen some poor leadership where there is no truth-telling and there's backstabbing, and then they're saying one thing to the committee members and something very different on the House floor. You know, in the end, that degrades the ability to work together because the trust isn't there. So I think long-term, the leadership piece and selecting people who can be solid, trustworthy leaders is so important to coming across as being able to work in a bipartisan fashion, and then getting rid of this polarization and actually working in a cohesive fashion requires that trust. So when the trust has been eroded, you just end up with a committee that's completely dysfunctional, and bills don't get passed or even amended to come somewhere towards a centrist way to pass. And that's really unfortunate, and big picture, it's a waste of everybody's time. You work so hard to get elected, so hard to file a bill, so hard to present the bill, and then if the committee's dysfunctional, you've just lost 2 years of work because leadership isn't there. So I would say I've seen it. This is my 5th year in the State House. There are certainly some bills that I'm sitting on right now that I'm not going to file because I'm waiting for a change in leadership. The relationships that I've formed with folks in government jobs and who have served as elected officials is really important because they need to know how much it matters to me that we still have a cross-section represented. So obviously, I think when I'm in a position to recommend appointments, I want to recommend a diversity of appointments that are a cross-section of the state. And when I'm in a position to hire, I want to have the same for my staff. And I think that matters because New Hampshire is far more than a group of retired old folks who are able to serve in politics because they have a pension. And so we want to reflect that in all of our policies, all of our decisions, and all of our long-term thinking. I love the idea of creating a future caucus for New Hampshire. I've heard a couple different people mention my colleague across the aisle, Representative Joe Alexander. He was the president of the College Republicans a couple years back in New Hampshire. So I'm looking forward to bringing that legislation and perhaps starting a future caucus with my colleague across the aisle.